Welcome to the Transportation Sales Tax Program. I'm Cheryl Harleston. This program is also called RoadWise for those of you who have been watching for a while. We're going to be looking at economic development in Charleston County and how the Transportation Sales Tax Program has affected all of these jobs that we're seeing and the opportunities that are being given in this community. And we have the man who can tell us all about that. He's the Director of Economic Development for Charleston County Government, and his name is Steve Dykes. You'll meet him in just a moment, so please don't go away.
Hey, Charleston County, let's recycle. Charleston County makes it easy. Recycling glass, aluminum cans, steel and aerosol cans, plastics 1 to 7. We recycle them all. And don't forget paper. If it tears, recycle it. Even cardboard. Recycle at work, at home, and at play. So whether you're using the 2 curbside bin system and separating or the all-in-one roll cart system, keep recycling. Brought to you by Charleston County Environmental Management.
Welcome back to the Transportation Sales Tax Program. I'm Cheryl Harleston. As promised, we're going to be talking about economic development with Steve Dykes, and he's the gentleman who's going to let us know how the Transportation Sales Tax Program is fitting in with economic development. In other words, are all these roads and bridges and allocations projects like sidewalks and the rest, is that really helping to get business in our community? And you and I know that business means jobs. So we'll be talking about all of those things and more. Don't go away. Welcome. It's nice seeing you again.
Nice to see you.
It's been a while.
It has.
Now, what does your office do exactly? It's the Economic Development Office for Charleston County Government.
That's correct.
Now what do you do in this office exactly?
Well, Cheryl, we're involved in a three-pronged mission that County Council set up back in 1994, just in the wake of the Navy base closure. And basically, we recruit new companies to the community, and we help retain and expand existing companies. And then the third leg of our mission involves the business climate. Are
we getting in the businesses that we desire? I know that there have been some big ones coming in, and where are they located? Are people able to get to those jobs? Why don't we take it one at a time? Are we successful in attracting businesses to the Charleston area?
I would have to give you an unequivocal answer of yes on that. I think we're always striving to do things even better and to accelerate the success of what's going on. But just in recent years, and I would point back to one obvious coup for the region, which was Boeing, with its final assembly plant here. That was the kind of project that communities dream of, and only the 3rd place in the world that wide-body commercial aircraft is built. So that was gigantic for the region.
See, tell us a little bit about how that happens. I know that a company, or I believe that a company like Boeing and some of the others that we have here must be courted. And you must offer them certain things, and they offer the community jobs and all of that. But how do you, out of 46 counties, 45 if we take out Charleston, in South Carolina, how did we manage to bring in a prize like that? Well,
Cheryl, in the case of that project, infrastructure was all important. And by infrastructure, I'm talking about land that was immediately adjacent to a runway, and also with other intermodal transportation solutions at hand. And that, obviously, at our airport, that included the proximity of rail, the proximity of the North Charleston Port Terminal. All of that rolled together to make this the best place in the United States for them to pursue that project.
And what are they looking for in the way of the people? Do they have to be highly trained or educated? What are some of the specifics about the kind of folks that are required to do the jobs at a Boeing and other companies that have been coming in?
Well, I'll tell you, it's not the same with any 2 companies that we bring in. Now, in the case of Boeing, obviously with the manufacture of aircraft, there are high-level engineering jobs, there are mid-level jobs, and there are what I would call starting jobs for production. Mm-hmm. And I think our region citizens have been wildly successful with the starting jobs and some of the mid jobs. An awful lot of the other jobs have been imported. The talent's been imported, obviously, into a state that doesn't have a history of aircraft, and that's completely what you would expect.
Now, did Bowen provide for their own training, or do the various institutions in our community provide that training as a result of Bowen conferring with them?
Well, it's truly a combination, and this is true of most companies. It's certainly true of them, is that they obviously have a 100-plus year history in aviation and making airplanes. So their institutional knowledge is far and above beyond anything you could imagine. But in terms of getting our entry-level workers ready to come into their system and get further training, we've used a state organization known as Ready SC. Ready SC reaches out, does the initial recruitment and screening, and then sets up a turnkey type situation where a company gets a group of people that have been screened and trained to a certain level that are now ready to go to the next level with the deeper training.
If I walk into that plant, and I'll leave Boeing alone in just a moment, but it is one of the most recent businesses, and we'll talk with some of the others as well. But did they get the people that they wanted, and were those who got the jobs, would they mostly be Charlestonians, or are they from all over the state and maybe the region?
I think the answer to the first question is they've been very happy with the workforce thus far, and they've gained accolades from the corporate level and everywhere that within the Boeing ranks. So they're on target. They're meeting their goals. They've turned out the right number of aircraft thus far, to be on schedule. So I think they would tell you they're very happy with it. The workforce really comes from all over the country. If you look at it in the totality, as far as the production level folks, 85 to 90% or more are tri-county. When you throw in the engineers and look at the whole workforce, it becomes more of a countrywide play, bringing the best and the brightest in from Seattle and other centers of aviation.
We have a tremendous business park in Charleston County, and it has developed quite a bit. And I'm just wondering, have you had any new clients lately? Have you had new businesses that have come into that park?
We have. In matter of fact, I know that since the last time we were here together on the show, we have had in excess of 865 new jobs created out at Palmetto Commerce Park by upwards of a dozen different companies, and they've invested about $200 million in investment out there. So it's been robust.
Now this is when we get to tout the transportation sales tax program, because it built a number of those roads out there, but certainly the Palmetto Commerce Parkway was part of the transportation sales tax program. What does that mean to the kind of work you're doing to have good roads for companies that are coming in? And are they inquiring about that kind of thing?
They are. It's paramount. That good infrastructure is paramount to what I do. And the transformation of the Palmetto Commerce Parkway is the best case study that we have thus far for the power of infrastructure to affect growth. Keep in mind, when we started out there, we had a little 2-lane road. We'd essentially only built half of the 4-lane parkway leading in, a certain distance. The half-cent sales tax made possible the completion of the 4-lane system at the entrance to the park, which was vital for the businesses already there, and then it extended the road all the way through to Ashley Phosphate, which has just revolutionized the mobility in that park.
We're going to be talking about that and several other things as it has to do with businesses locating to our community or relocating to our community. And certainly the business park and the roads that were put in by the transportation sales tax have been helpful. But that's not the only place where roads have been built through the sales tax. And we want to talk about some of those too and how that impacts jobs, employment, and not unemployment. We'll be right back.
Hey, Charleston County, let's recycle. Charleston County makes it easy. Recycling glass, aluminum cans, steel and aerosol cans, plastics 1 to 7. We recycle them all. And don't forget paper. If it tears, recycle it. Even cardboard. Recycle at work, at home, and at play. So whether you're using the 2 curbside bin system and separating or the all-in-one roll cart system, keep recycling. Brought to you by Charleston County Environmental Management.
Welcome back to the Transportation Sales Tax Program. As I said earlier, I'm talking with Steve Dykes, who is the Director of Economic Development here in Charleston County, and he's been telling us all about Boeing and how they settled in this community, and the business park, which sprang up years ago, and it seems to be doing extremely well. And you know that business means jobs, and that's very important to Mr. Dykes as well as Charleston County Council. But I was asking you, were some of those jobs recruited to go out, jobs and businesses recruited to go outside of the park, or are they mainly in the park? Now, once you tell me that they're spread all out, and I assume that that's true, then what's happening with that park? Has it gotten larger as a result of the Palmetto Commerce Parkway?
Yes.
Well, so outside first.
Yeah, we recruit industry to a number of locations within Charleston County. Palmetto Commerce Park happens to be our premier Class A business park. We've got quite a few more mature Class B parks, spread throughout the area, in addition to some big freestanding sites where people would build industrial. So Palmetto Commerce Park, though, has become a centerpiece of our recruitment effort for the last 15 years. And obviously that effort got a lot better with the extension of the road. And essentially, we started out with around 1,500 acres in Palmetto Commerce Park, and that has been turned into another 3,500 to 4,000 available acres with the extension of the parkway.
And that's because that road was built as such until now we're able to attract other businesses, large ones, small ones, all kinds?
Businesses of all kinds.
Okay.
There's a really exciting mixed-use development that's planned in a big tract of land known as Ingleside, and that is essentially the huge piece of property that fronts I-26 and backs up to Palmetto Parkway. And so those developers are now well down the pathway to creating that master plan.
The reason I started in on asking a question about these businesses locating outside of Palmetto Commerce Parkway area and the business park was because some folks say it's hard to get to a job, especially those who don't have transportation. We don't have the best, just let's be honest, the best mass transportation system, but we're trying, and we are able to get people to jobs that are closer to the inner city. But when you have the jobs out in the park, it makes it difficult. What kind of solution is there for this problem?
Well, I think that, as you say, traffic circulation in general is important. I think that somewhere down the line we will see mass transit become feasible. It'll be something that we tackle much in the way that Charlotte did to get at least our first leg of mass transit in place. I can definitely see that for Charleston, particularly with the growth that's projected. I think in the meantime, folks have got to take advantage of CARTA to the extent that that will help them. And I see all the road projects that Roadwise does as being important to workforce mobility. Roadwise has made improvements in downtown Charleston that have aided the MUSC huge hospital medical complex, probably upwards of 10,000 or more people employed in that several block area. Improvements on Johnny Dodds have completely revolutionized travel through the town of Mount Pleasant.
It really has.
Glenn McConnell Parkway has been quite an asset to all the businesses in the West Ashley area. So I think project by project around town, your projects serve business.
So each needs the other. Economic development needs the roads need the development or the businesses, and the people need all of it.
I couldn't sum it up better.
Well, and that's exactly what you're trying to do. You and the county council and all the people responsible for bringing jobs into our community.
Right.
And you foresee a day when, in fact, people in the inner city will be able to get out to these jobs that are out here, and I'll call them the hinterlands for now, but be able to get out here by way of mass transportation, or do you see more businesses going into the inner city where people can go to work walking or riding a bicycle?
Well, I think there's a real renaissance going on in our inner cities even as we speak. I could point you to redevelopment projects taking place in earnest on the peninsula. The whole landscape is dotted with cranes as we speak. You know, new hotels, new apartment projects, new retail. City of North Charleston has been robust in its redevelopment efforts in the Park Circle area, the Navy base. Town of Mount Pleasant is now pioneering new projects along Coleman Boulevard. Mm-hmm. So I think even as we speak, the mayors are a step ahead of us, and they're starting to create those jobs and bring that vitality back into their cities.
Now, are we looking for white-collar jobs or blue-collar jobs or both?
Both. Our organization works with back office and R&D type facilities that move here, spay-war vendors, biotech companies, in addition to manufacturing, which is largely aerospace, automotive, and of that nature.
And the other element that I know you need to do your job to attract businesses into our community for those jobs is to make sure that the people here, if they're going to get them, are trained.
That's correct.
And now, is that something that is going well, or would you like to see us step that up, or where does it stand right now in terms of educational institutions?
It's going well, and I think that my colleagues, however, in the workforce development world would tell you that there's always room for more improvement. So they're going at it as hard as they can with all the resources they can bring to the table. The average story that we hear from companies in Charleston is that they're well pleased with the workforce training that's available to them. And that being said, it's paramount that the children that are in our school system are reached earlier and made aware of all their career options, because I think that's a poorly understood subject. And there's a lot of manufacturers in the community and others that are starting to bind together, Dr. Thornley being one of the leading advocates, to try to reach kids at an earlier age, wake them up to the fact that technical careers and in fact, attendance at Trident Tech may be a great career pathway to them as opposed to the usual four-year college type emphasis.
Well, you're talking right up my alley, because I have taught for a number of years at small colleges, larger ones, where I've lived in Spartanburg and other places. And that education part is very, very important to a community.
It really is.
And having those schools available, easily reached for students is important as well, and that's a big part of what you're doing.
It is.
We see traffic backed up from here to yonder, going to different places around Charleston County, and I don't know if you're aware of that, but there are a lot of people here, and I'd like to know what number you would give our unemployment rate. And are we like the national, or are we beyond or below or above them? We'll find out as soon as we come back from the break. Is that good? We'll be right back in just a moment.
Hey, Charleston County, let's recycle. Charleston County makes it easy. Recycling glass, aluminum cans, steel and aerosol cans, plastics 1 to 7. We recycle them all. And don't forget paper. If it tears, recycle it. Even cardboard. Recycle at work, at home, and at